I need everybody to listen to me right now. Shang-Chi is top 3. That's all there is to it. You can make with that whatever you will. You can understand whatever you want to understand. I'm putting it out there. Shang-Chi is top 3. That's all. That's it. The action, fire. The actors, fire. Everything from top to bottom, start to finish, is good. And I might sound biased, and that's because I am. I love everything that's Marvel. I've said that before in the past. I'm going to keep saying that in the future. They do not miss. But they actually didn't miss with Shang-Chi. I'm not making up for a subpar movie. They actually did not miss with Shang-Chi. It's a great introduction to a character. High-key, the best solo movie. I was looking for the word. The best solo movie of any Marvel solo movies, or origin stories, rather, of any Marvel origin story so far. And I'm not saying that lightly. I see Iron Man right there. I cannot think of another one, but I'm sure there's another one somewhere, but I cannot put them on the same level as Shang-Chi, or at least on the same level. But the fact that Shang-Chi is at least comparable to those movies is saying a lot, because those movies spawned a multi-billion-dollar company and a 10-year movie franchise of astronomical proportions that will maybe never be reached again. But back to Shang-Chi. This movie is amazing. One thing this movie has that some other Marvel movies kind of struggle a little bit in is pacing. It's really good at pacing because you don't really get a moment to be bored. The action is kind of non-stop. Like from literally, when I say start to finish, I mean start like the first maybe 30 seconds, there's already a fight scene. And then it just keeps going. There's barely any time to breathe. And the time to breathe is actually welcomed because you actually get some story, right? As opposed to just fights, which usually when you go to a Marvel movie, a lot of people, they don't expect that big of a story unless you're talking about, you know, Avengers and stuff like that. But even then, just big team up, beat 'em up like movies, right? But you got a nice mix of action and a nice mix of dialogue / story. The characters are extremely likable as well. Like for example, obviously Shang-Chi, Katie is also very likable, but I think that's because Awkwafina is a very charming person, and it just kind of shows interacting. All the characters are very likable. Even Wenwu, who's I wouldn't say I like them, but he's somewhat compelling in a sense. He's not Killmonger levels, but he's not boring either, right? The thing that's nice too is that the story is told in an achronological order, so it's actually, you know, you kind of jump from the past to the future, to the past again to the future, back again, and every time you jump back and forth, well, not so much when you jump in the future, but more and more ahead in the future, you'll jump back to old flashbacks that you already saw, but you'll get some more exposition about them, some more information that was missing from the first time you saw those flashbacks. And it kind of becomes a thing as the movie progresses, and you're like, I feel like there's something missing from this scene, and usually it's because there is something missing, and they're going to reveal it later on. And they do that a few times, and it does keep you engaged, and I did enjoy that, I'm not going to lie. Other than the fact that it's a good Marvel movie, it's also just genuinely a good martial arts movie with great choreography, like fight choreography. The thing that Marvel movies does not so well, I would say, is sometimes with the fights, there's a lot of cuts, or there's not the great fight choreography because they more rely on like just star power and like CG effects or whatever. This is almost 100% choreography as far as like fighting goes, right? They're in their martial arts bag, is all I could really say. And it pays off greatly because all the fight scenes are super fun to watch because you actually know what's going on. And the ending fight, without saying anything else other than this, is incredible. And that's all I'm going to leave it at. Shang-Chi as a character as well, I'm going to go back to the characters, or character in this sense, just Shang-Chi. He's, in my opinion, maybe one of the coolest Marvel heroes. Like, as soon as you introduced him, I think he's had one of the better impressions on me of any Marvel superhero so far. He's such a likable character. He's such a cool character while being also very lame in the story itself. Well, not lame, but society standards would tell you he's lame, but he is not, which is actually a thing in the movie as well. But I'm not going to go too deep into that. But if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. But he's just very relatable. And I mentioned that because I think it's actually important. Because with these new characters that they're introducing, you know, as part of like this new Avengers team that they're going to be building. Because, you know, out in America, Iron Man, all that, you got to bring in some young blood. And I think Shang-Chi is the way to go. You bring in these characters that are extremely relatable. They're very ground level. Shang-Chi's powers are not ground level, I'm going to tell you right now, but the fact that he's kind of introduced to the Avengers world as a very relatable person that's like on the ground floor compared to all these like super larger than life figures, it makes sense to do it that way. Because if you just introduce, like for example, in Eternals, right? These people are gods. They're on Thanos level of strength, right? These people are not going to be relatable. But I also don't think the Eternals are going to join the Avengers either, right? Shang-Chi obviously is probably going to be part of some Avengers team, or at least it seems like he will be. And it makes sense to make him relatable right off the bat. He probably won't become relatable later, kind of like Captain America. But to make him so relatable right off the bat, I think is the best way to go about it. I'm going to end this by saying that, again, this is probably one of the best origin stories out of any Marvel movies I've ever seen. And again, I'm going to say it again one more time. Shang-Chi is top 3. And with that, I'm going to give my grade. I will give this movie, not surprisingly, an A+. Start to finish, an amazing movie, super fun to watch. Even if you don't know anything about Marvel, like I said, it's a great martial arts movie. So if you like martial arts, you should watch Shang-Chi. If you like Marvel, you should watch Shang-Chi. If you like movies, you should watch Shang-Chi.